Oh, I'm singing my own theme song. Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, we've done it before.
Boom!
And I'm pretty sure we'll do it again.
How goes, everyone? Welcome to the evening. A sensual night with Mr. Manchester.
Maybe.
You're like, how do you make things weird to start off? Well, that's right there. Clock it in. Mark it down. So, we have a lot of stuff this weekend. I'm excited. The one-man band.
It was nice to see some very, very skew lists come out on top and things. And shout out to a couple of those people who had the foresight and fortitude to try them out in a big event.
You know what? Who came back with a flash? Orc. I mean, not for the win rate over the weekend, but for just winning tournaments. They definitely did. So, what do you want to start with? We're going to look at some lists. We're going to look at some stats for the weekend.
So let's. I think we should look at the event that probably got the most coverage over the weekend, which would be the Grand Tournament in Tacoma, put on by Games Workshop themselves.
GW, the Grand Tournament. Where Grand Tournaments actually came from. A lot of people don't know that. That's actually a GW term. So now you know.
Yep.
Old people dropping knowledge on you. Ooh. All right. Bling. Congratulations to Marshall Peterson coming out over Mr. R, our own Scott Ketchum. Not only is he fixing people's hearts, but he's #1 in our hearts.
Absolutely. And congratulations, Scott, for getting up there. Amazing showing. And Marshall, absolutely fantastic. And you got to give a shout out to Chuck, who came in third with the Leagues of Votan, which is a very scary list. If you haven't had a chance to play it against it yet, try it out. It's quite impressive.
Let's look at that one first. Bing. We'll go right in order. We'll go with Chuck's list. He's running Votan. He's got the Iron Master, 2 E-Champs, a Grimnar, which is bullshit because dwarves shouldn't have magic. 2 Sages. You know how I feel about that. I hate it so much.
Dwarves. Remember, they're not dwarves. They're dwarven.
Yeah, they used to be space dwarves. Thank you very much. I still have the box that says space dwarves with the trike.
Me too somewhere.
Yeah.
So the 2 Sagittars, which is a lot less Sagittars than we've been seeing lately. Yeah. That's actually a change to the list that I like.
He's got a 6-man unit of Thunderkin, so he's going to put a character with that. 2 units of Zerg, so he has a little bit of punch, pew. Then he's got the 2 units of Hearthguard, just running 5ers. And then he's got 2 Chonks, so running 2 Land Fortresses, and then 6/3/3 in his bikes. I mean, this is a legit... I think Votan is coming at you strong. The one thing that I'm really surprised that he didn't bring is Jaegers. You know what I mean? To really scout out or make your scouts possible. You know what I mean? And I guess that possibly is because he's running less Sages, so he's not really focused on, getting the most out of that scout moves and stuff. So it's a big thing on that. So,
that's the nice part of Tacoma and what GW does with the pods is you can come out of a pod and still do well, because you got to look. He had an early loss, right? But with that pod system, you get the chance, to come out of that pod and still redeem yourself, which is really nice.
Damn it, Tom. Thomas Ogden, $1.90 super chat. Obligatory, go blue. And screw OSU. Also, I love you, Brian.
Thanks, Tom. And then let's take a look there at Scott's list.
Scott?
Which, I mean, as everyone knows, Scott is a sister specialist.
Yep.
And they're a strong book. They require a skilled pilot to do it, and Scott is one of the best in the world at it.
Oh, he's fantastic at it. He's bringing his flame list. Yeah, the candidates to jump pack, which just does work. Morbid Duval and a unit of girls, Palatine and the Triumph, because she is just cheating right now. As long as she's not 300 points, she's just an auto. I mean, Jesus, +2 move, +1 advance.
I don't even know if she's like 250 to 270. You're probably still taking her.
I mean, she's just gross. He's got trip immolators, triple castigator, and then he's got double dominions that he's going to split. The unit of paragons that goes with Vol, unit of seraphim, and unit of novitiates to scoot up and do shenanigans and things. So he went a little bit heavier in just straight damage this time because he was running a lot more chaff in original list that he brought.
And then doing that with the Bringers of Flame detachment with all the pluses and the assault weapons, those immolators get real scary.
Well, although it's the +1, but it's also the fact that everything's assault, and you've got Triumph giving you that the ability to move, to advance and shoot, because everything's assault in the detachment. But then she makes you so fast, you can get angles that nobody sees. Like, even you know that they can move, but like the actual physically when you're blocking things off, it's always just surprising how damn far they got. You know what I mean? And still got lines of sight on you. So you can do a lot of shenanigans with this.
Meta Monday, I'm sure that doing the pods makes your life hell, because there's no way in BCP to really see it strung out correctly.
Yeah.
So it's a little more challenging. I completely understand on that one.
As a player, I really enjoy pods quite a little bit. So, probably coming to the $2 super chat. Go Blue and go Moo. Just got back home from LSO. I will pull you up on this too. I'll pull up your list. I'll take a sneak peek at what you're playing.
But I heard LSO was a ton of fun. So
they had. So I like this quite a bit. It's got a lot of bang. It's got a lot of play. I think the castigators are fantastic still.
I think the Immolator Dominion split is amazing.
Yeah, you can just do shenanigans with it. It's very big on that. So you can get out. Obviously, they give the rerolls to wound. Palatine does Palatine shenanigans. Overall, he's just got a decent amount of damage from that. With 6 and 2 with the crowds, nice. 8 games is a lot. 8 games is a lot.
Yeah.
What's your place at, by the way? So I'll find your list for you and pull you up. And then the Marshall Peterson Orcs. He brought my Warhorde. I'm going over this. I love this list. Snick Rock, Gazgul, War Boss, 3 units of Beast Snagaboys, 10 strong, just 1 truck, brought a battle wagon, 2 5-man flash kits, 2 10-man Gretchen, 3 skill rigs, a unit of knobs and 2 units of storm boys. He brought a lot of big thumping stuff. Like between the triple kill rig and the battle wagon, that's a whole lot of toughness, a lot to dig through with a lot of boys inside.
Well, and with the way the GW tables are, you can move those around and consistently get cover, which is really nice. And the size of those kill rigs screen out really well as well. From getting through, you can get in the way a lot. And they punch fairly hard.
Kyle, you had your chance to jump onto this. You could have brought a lot. This is, man, there's so much stuff going on here. It's so much bigness.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how I'd move all the big things. There's so many things that cost more than 100 points in here that already terrify me. But
you've got multiple things.
I mean, you've got the triple kill. It's just the triple kill rig and a battle wagon. Man, that is a lot of big shit to move. He had to really either put his dick on the board and just push him up sometimes, or he was just really trying to sneak him out. So there's a lot of mojo that goes into this. If you want expensive units, you'll love my list. Your list makes me like terrified. I actually really enjoyed it. It's all Necron big dings.
Oh, okay.
What do you have? 143. I'll find him real quick. Give me a second. I got a ting, 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 ting. What to do. Where are you? 143. View list. Warden, Silent King. I'm already panicking. Silent King. Unit of Immortals.
That's a lot of pointage.
Spider. I love Deathmarks so much. 2 units of Deathmarks. Double Doomsday Arc. 3 solo destroyers. Oof. Double Monolith. Jesus.
Nice. Here's a monolith. Deal with it.
I love it, Corey. I could jump on too, but only if you're cool losing monetization. I'm gonna pass on that one.
But no, LSO looks like it was the Tacoma looks like it was a good time. Like, get easily confused with the mold. And the pods thing, a lot of people seem to like it. It's an interesting concept. I have yet to run a pods event because I don't understand it well enough to do it.
I like it. I just like it because it makes people almost have 2 tournaments at that point in time, because you can get smoked and then finish out strong. You can win your pod. You get prizes based on that. But also, I just like the fact that everybody plays 8 games. That's kind of cool to me too. I've never been a fan of the top 8. It's just not. That's just my personal opinion. I just really like everybody playing.
That's why with Salt City, I like the 7 rounds and doing a lot of the best in faction awards, because it distributes the prizes amongst the masses, which I'm a big fan of, as we've talked about 100 times. And it's a good time. So, but it looks like Tacoma was a good time. Interesting list winning. I don't think anyone had on their, hey, pick what you think's going to win. Was Orcs the top? Absolutely not. Even though there's love in both our hearts for Orcs. And the fact that kill rigs were, the main focus of that list are really.
It was 3 kill rigs and a battle wagon make that more of a big guy list than just a straight orc list on that, for sure. So I'll look at the Eldari. I'll look that up. Eldari did get a GT win, but you just have a good player playing a list, so.
Yep.
He got 2 killer cards. I won't even. I have no idea what happened. I won't even bring that up.
Yeah, Eldari won the TML or TLM at Layton in Florida. Harpster won it. Great player running Eldar.
But if you pull that list up for me, so I don't have to search it, and then I'll go to the Frontline Gaming one in a minute here.
Yep. So he was running Battle Host, obviously. Wayleaper with the Phoenix Gem, Avatar Arcane, Death Jester with Fate Messengers, obvious. Farseer Skyrunner with Weeping Stones, the Vizark, Warlock Skyrunner, and Yvrain. Unit of Blob of Guardian Defenders.
I was saying, is he running the big blob of Harlequins then?
So we got, for Battle Line, we got Guardian Defenders, we got a block of Rangers, unit of Swooping Hawks, the big troop, the 2 Warp Spiders, 3 Warp Spiders, and a big unit of Wind Riders.
Yeah, that's all aggro all the time. You got a decent amount of trash, and then you're just basically putting all the defensive buffs on the Avatar and the troops, and you're just full sending that stuff. And he's got a bunch of trash to play the mission. Yeah, Eldari. Yeah, it's basically melee Eldari stuff, doing stuff and things.
Yep, I like it. I think it's a good list.
Yeah, it sounds really fun to play too.
Yeah, because it's fun to run forward and smash into things with stuff with fight first and all kinds of enjoyable things.
So,
all right, so as we move on to Frontline.
Frontline, Lone Star Open. This one also took me a while to find, because apparently I'm an idiot. Well, we already do that. But also it was listed as LSO and not the Lone Star Open, so I had so many problems finding it in BC.
So I got to give, there's a couple big 40K dirtbags. The team won it. Derek, congratulations. Great job with Chaos Space Marines. But the list that had, I think, both of us the most intrigued, because we looked at it and went, what? And then reread it and went, oh, that's so much fun.
Well, that's
got to be Mark.
Let's go to Clifton's list. This thing, I didn't even believe this. Lyle called me earlier today and was like, I'm going to read you a list, Brad, and you're going to love it. And I'm like, he read me this list, which I'm about to read to you guys. And I'm like, that is a super fun Dread Mob list, and it is going to win 0 games. And he's like, Clifton just went 6-0 with it. And I go, what? So, Big Mac with a shock attack gun, 2 of them. I'm sorry, 3 of them. And then we've got, how many Gretchen? Yes, he just brought all the Gretchen.
Yeah.
There's so many Gretchen here. I love it.
Well, there's so many guns.
Behind him, you've got 3 10-man units of flash kits. This by itself made the list the best list ever for me because I love flash kits, because pirate orcs are the best thing that's ever been or ever will be. They're awesome. We've got 3 10-man units of Ludas, and this right here, this is what makes the list. He has max bubble chuckas, and just being able to say bubble chuckas.
And Brad, what does the bubble chukka do? Because I know you've run it.
Yeah, it randomizes what it does, which is the best thing.
Exactly.
It shoots a random gun, and the best part is I love when I brought those the last time. I brought them to Nova and something else, and the only reason I brought bubble chuckas, they're like, well, what was the tactical reason you brought bubble chuckas? I'm like, because I wanted to be able to say bubble chukka on stream multiple times. That's exactly why. Oh, I love this list. This has so many guns. I mean, I'm also assuming that he just went full big dick mode and just slammed the button and chose whatever he wanted. Not just just hit the button, choose the button.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at what the bubble chukka does, because it has, the fun ability of you roll a die and you can just shoot one of 3 guns. So it's either,
it's a volume shot, a medium shot, it's a strength 9, or you shoot the big shot.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because it's just damage. And you got to think about it. If you roll a 1 or a 2 and you're just throwing it at trash, you're talking like 66 shots.
So many shots, but also with it, you can get, the sustained and stuff like that because you're pushing the button. So this has legit mojo on it. And 30 Ludas and 30 flash kits are just no joke, especially when you're jamming mechs with them. You know what I mean? You're jamming up the Ludas, you can't jam in the flash kits. But that's just a lot of just shots, because the Ludas are hitting on 6s, you get rerolls if you're shooting something on a objective. But when you're pushing the button, you're getting those sustain and stuff. You're just getting a ton of it has volume for days. And also putting that many Gretchen just in the way will slow people the hell down. I would actually choose a fairly early Wog with this army, because I just want that 5-up info on Gretchen. You know what I mean? And just basically hide for a turn, push them out for a turn to really get in the way, steal. And remember, Gretchen are OC too. So you can just run up, get in the way, steal some early objectives while you're putting just a dumb amount of shots on people. Random rolls is still better than obliterators. You're not wrong. True story. Orcs get so much stuff. It's so good for Pariah. 100% it is. I played it at ATC, played it at multiple things, but in Pariah, it's just, you can always seem to score your secondaries, and he's got so much shit here. It's fantastic. Why are Skulless doing better in this meta? I don't think people have settled into how to play Pariah, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I think things have... Go ahead.
Yeah. You've got to look at, if you are good with a faction, as I think we consistently say this, or at least I do, and you have comfortability with the list a little bit, you can do really well in Pariah, because you just go, I'm going to play the missions regardless of what my opponent is. And if I can just play the missions and score my points, I should be able to pull out a victory.
And also some of these human lists that are big bang lists that are hitting really hard, especially end game, or where you do it. Secret missions are legit now. Not only is the secret mission, are they achievable, they're not ridiculous, but the fact that you can continue to score your primary means that you can put up a huge score on 4 and 5. You can score 0 primary on 2 and 3 and still end up with a 40, because you scored on 4, you scored on 5, and then you put in that secret mission at the end of the game. You can get gigantic end game turns, and those really can flip a game. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. I do like it. I hate it a little bit sometimes, but because I play very grindy board control. But man, it makes the game. They achieve what they're trying to do. What I do like is we're playing more 5-turn games. We're not doing like we did early when you just went, oh, I score 100, you can't quite get to 100, the game's over, and you can never win. Now we're playing out more games.
And it feels like, you know, like as I play more Pariah and see more Pariah for setups. And a lot of what I do is when I say I'm playing Pariah, I'm watching TTS games and watching other people play. And I'm watching board versus mission versus what setups they're using just to try and get a feel for everything. And with doing that, I'm like, oh, all right, these couple missions, this stuff really works well. And these missions, other things work well. And to see that, you know, you kind of have to have either a super well-rounded list that can kind of handle everything, or you need to be able to push a button and do one thing remarkably well. And if you get really good with that one thing, you can win games.
You've seen certain lists, Silent King, Magnus, people like that. I can just go, I'm going to take you're going second? Cool. I'm taking the secret mission for my Warlord to take your home objective. And or if you've got Uppy Downey, if you're Hypercrypt, your Grey Knights, you know, anybody that has the strat for Uppy Downey, you can go, oh, I will save this one unit of battle line, kill my opponents, and or a lot of armies just don't bring them, and I'll slam them in your backfield at the end of the game. Boom, another 20. I've seen just a shit ton of secret missions go off, and I mean we saw what 0 gambits in real play, but I see secret missions all the time.
I pulled off a gambit once in the semifinals.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
So, that was the only way to win the game. It was either lose big or win, but win. So there was the choices made.
Secret missions are good, dude. I mean,
the
thing is that whether you really like them or not, they're doing what they wanted to do with gambits anyways. And I just like the fact that they're pulling games. You have to play the whole game. You know what I mean? There's just so much 2 or 3 turns of 40K to games done, see you later. Now you're seeing more games go to time, go all the way to their natural end, their natural timed end at turn 5. And especially because I play a lot of teams, man, those secret missions are a huge deal because they score a secret mission, all of a sudden it's a 4-point flip, in differential. That's gigantic. So it just makes these games go a lot tighter. You play the whole game. I just like the fact that you're playing the whole game, because I mean
so let's look on this, and before we go to Derek's list, let's look at Nathaniel's list for Tyranids there. So that was Vanguard, which is the popular list right now for Tyranids, but this one went like a little bit harder in a direction that we haven't seen.
I mean, he went why shoot when I can go all gas, no brakes?
Yeah, it's legitimately, I'm going to put pressure on you from the first second forward, infiltrating with Broodlords and Gene Stealers, Death Leaper, Neurolictors, the Winged Hive Tyrant, who can do a ton of shenanigans in that.
The Winged Tyrant Prime also.
Yeah, the Winged Tyrant Prime, who gives the Warriors the Vanguard keyword. I mean, like, this is a Vanguard list. And the Raveners, who, if you haven't had to fight against 6 Raveners coming at you with 7 attacks apiece that are strength 5, AP -1 damage, it can be nasty, and they have up down.
He's also got the Neurolictor, so he could give them Synapse and let them go. So it's strength 6 now. That's a big thing in a lot of these things, because like
huge, yeah.
The Lictors now, if you make them if you get them Synapse on them, they go to strength 8. You know what I mean? And they've got the precision abilities. They're smoking characters. You can do some big damage. The Raveners just pick shit up. Like if you have trash, your trash is dead. So. Yeah. He also brought a 6-man unit of the Warriors. He just went so full send with this list.
Yeah, it was full send, and it clearly did remarkably well. And the thing is if you can put enough, like, there's a lot of defensive players, Brad being one of them. I play somewhere on the defensive side of things. But if you have an all-pressure list like this or World Eaters or something in that line where you are just pushing up into your opponent, and you force them to make a ton of decisions. 30 Gene Stealers coming up the board on turn 1 in your face. You got to think quick, fast, decide.
Well, your spacing better be perfect or you're fucked.
Yeah. If you don't have those things, you are going to, go, oh, yeah, I got caught off guard by that. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, the Gene Stealers are in Synapse, so they've got the pluses. And, there's devastating wounds to contend with from the Broodlord, and it becomes nasty. It really fast.
And the thing is that I like this because this list actually does like a lot versus Elite list. Because it jams people in the corner, and he doesn't have to send everything. I mean, he sends enough, keeps you off, he's scoring any primaries. He's doing a good amount of damage. Everything got just slightly upped with, Tyranids, and I've been saying this since they gave the data sheet. We give him 17% extra all over the place, and it's working out. You know what I mean? And you've seen a lot of people starting to use Vanguard too.
Yeah, it's a good list. It has the movement shenanigans you want. Most of the stuff that has Vanguard is a fast-moving unit to start with, and as we always know, movement is a huge thing. And all the Vanguard stuff have those important keywords. They have infiltrate. They have fight first. There's some stuff with devastating wounds. All that stuff stacks and adds up and becomes like, oh, yeah, that's really good because it has all the words you want on units, which is fantastic.
I mean, this is terrifying, especially if you don't have screens. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So many shots. I mean, it's 42 attacks in these Raveners. It's just fucking crazy. It's just like, plus the 6-man Tyranids, because you're going to put the Tyranid Prime in there. He's just got stuff. I mean, he's got 2 lictors and 2 neurolictors also, just trying to snipe people. And the fact that they can stack their minuses now for the battle shock test, it is legit on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is just coming at you.
Yep.
Just screen with a monolith. Yeah. Only if you've got 2 of them.
And again, there's going to be, and again, like everything, matchup dependent. He may, you may draw something that's like, oh yeah, that's really bad for me. Like you're going to have to play this list cagey if you're playing against somebody with, 6 units of Rubric Marines with all flamers. You're going to have to be a little more cagey. You're going to have to figure out how to, hide and strike and, use the board.
How about if you put 100 Gretchen in front of you and just have all of the shots in the universe?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
I would have loved to see that happen. You're just like, all right, you hit the Gretchen, and now Borks go burr.
Yeah. Yep. And then we got to look at Derek's list, of course, who won.
Look at it.
Playing Chaos Space Marines. And of course, this is the Chaos Cult. Yep.
He's got Cypher in here, Dark Apostle. He's got Double Commune, Fabius Bile. 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, get it right. It's Fabulous Bill.
Fabulous Bill, my bad.
It's Fabulous Bill.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of regular cultists. Then he's got 5 units flying, 6 units of Traitor Guardsmen, 1 Rhino, 3 units of Accursed Cultists, a unit of Spawn, a unit of Daemonettes, a unit of Nurglings, and a unit of Seekers. This is the bottom, the Allied stuff. He's just got some go fast juice and a forward deployer, and I wasn't 100% sure what he was doing with this. I mean, obviously the rest of it is just, it's a horde build, you know what I mean? Take the board, shut people down, steal their primary, score every secondary you can possibly do because you have 600 units and you just make things happen. I didn't know what he was doing with the demons.
So, I mean, number one, besides the go fast, they all have deep strike.
True story.
Right? I mean, that's something you can use to your advantage. Like, oh, I need to cover the board on this mission. Great. Well, here I need deep strike, and guess what's battle line in there?
Yes.
Right.
Man, he has so many models.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's so much stuff there. I mean, those accursed cultists can kill a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. But like, they're just getting in your way. They're just stopping your movement. They're preventing you from scoring primary. They're controlling the board. I mean, it's
guys with invulns too, man.
Yeah.
So it's just, he's got 200 and some models and invulns out there. Trash. It's also so many units. It would be different if it was just old school, 20 or 30 man mobs. But besides the accursed cultists, these are just a shit ton of 10-man dudes. And the thing is that you got to pick up each one individually. You know what I mean? So just sometimes it's too much.
Mm-hmm. And it's really, it's very well done. I mean, I think it's very interesting. It's a good list. It's again, we thought that Horde at some point might become a little bit rough to deal with, and it looks like it's in range of being that. I'm not going to say it's there yet, but Horde's definitely something you have to be prepared for. You have to have the game,
especially when the Horde can just punch you to death, the Cursed Cultist style.
Yep.
I mean, it's just
absolutely,
those will drop some shit. let's look at the full stats for the weekend. Thousand Suns still rocking it out, doing well, putting up a 57% win rate over the weekend. That list, I just played it the other day. I played a TTS tournament, and one of my games was against Thousand Suns, and it's just crazy. They're still just dropping damage on you. Yeah, I mean, the list obviously is a little bit worse than it was before, but man, you have to be careful with that. They can just still put out like a stupid amount of damage. Also, late game Magnus going all of the inches to take things from you. If you play him cagey, super big deal. Drakari, I love Drakari. I think that army's just nuts. The list we had, Brenton play at ATC is one of my favorite lists. It's just so much trash with so many dark glances, and you've got a couple hand-to-hand threats that can really trade super well, especially with all this infantry-based stuff out here. Lilith is by herself, crazy, and then the girls with her. You've just got a lot of stuff. You've got so much trash. Again, we're talking about these other lists that did really well over the weekend. One of the things that you see in a lot of these lists that won is just the sheer amount of MSU. Just, I can play with anything. I've got so much trade. I can move block you for days. I can steal your points. That's such a big deal. You know what I mean? You don't have to kill everything on the board. Sometimes you just go, hey, you can't move and you can't score. Well, I don't care if you kill me. With all the bigs.
Yeah. And then you got Sisters of Battle, who clearly still doing remarkably well. As obvious, by their placings, but their win rate is up there. It's in the 50. It's 55%. They're absolutely fantastic.
Also, you're just seeing people like starting to play. You're seeing a lot of differences between the Hallowed Martyrs, Bring Us a Flame, Faith. You're seeing a little bit of all of them. They're all doing pretty decent. I've seen a lot of people play a little bit of all. Also, Caillou definitely did not design that. That's the red intent. Blood Angels, man, Sons of Sanguinius are legit, by the way.
They were really bad, and then they fixed them, and then they made them very good, which is great. It's
just an auto take for me. I know I'm going back to team again, but in team tournaments, it's just one of those, you just click Blood Angels and say yes, as long as you have a player that can play them, because they win against all of the other melee builds with fights first and more attacks than everybody and fight on death and just they just do so much damage, and their trash is better than your trash because of the +2 strength, +1 attack.
I mean, are they winning tons of tournaments in Pariah Nexus as of yet? I think they've won a few, but was it I think they've won one so far in Pariah Nexus.
The thing is
they're an amazing teams army, as you've stated, and it's going to XO and X1 a reasonable amount of time. I mean, they're going to keep winning. It's just an inevitable. I don't think that they're broken. I don't think they're going to be a meta stopper, but you definitely have to be ready to deal with them.
Their bad matchups are bad, though, too. You can get a bad mission and a bad match with them because they still just don't have any shooting besides pistols and shit. You know what I mean? That's relevant. So, you can just pick them up. But, man, especially in a focused, again, when you're talking about teams and stuff like that, 5 events. I didn't realize that. We apparently can't read since we have it right in front of us. How dare you tell me to look at the chart that you already made for us?
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it.
World Eater's doing World Eater stuff. I've been saying this since they said the nerf when they said they're unplayable. Yeah, cool. They've been winning exactly what they were doing before. World Eater's just good.
Black Templar are still really good.
They dip for a little bit. I'm happy to see that Righteous Crusade
go through ebbs and flows.
Yeah, true story.
Chaos Demons, I think the buff they got made them a lot better than people think they are. If you don't know how to play against them, you are going to get caught off guard. And they're just solid.
Agreed on that.
Big tough things are tough to kill sometimes.
They've got lots of builds too. You can make a lot of just different shit with them. You can do full MSU, you can do partial MSU with bigs, or you can do full bigs. You know what I mean? They've got like just a lot of different. I like the fact that when you see demons, you don't know exactly what you're getting into. You have to dig into the list because there's lots of ways to bring them. Also with different gods. You know what I mean? People have brought corn spam / spam. You know, mixing. I just like it a lot.
Yeah, and Votan keeps creeping up a little bit every time.
Yeah. When they added the Jaegers, you know, the cheapest thing in their army is the Jaegers now, and it infiltrates, which was a huge goddamn deal because it literally says, you know, let's roll off, see who wins the roll. Cool. Whether I win or lose, I know I'm going to put my guys on one of these two sides to make sure I.
Meta Monday talking about the player count for role leaders is nuts. They were extremely popular when they first came. I like just from a retailer side of things, those things sold like absolute wildfire. You couldn't keep them on the shelf. There's tons of players out there. The fact that they're creeping back up in popularity again doesn't surprise me at all. It's a fun army to play. It's, you know, it's all aggression. It's super enjoyable. It's a fun thing to play over a weekend. Because although yes, you may have long games, a lot of the times 3 turns done.
Yeah. And you can see a bunch of different. We just watched it. I've seen a bunch of different stuff from different players, from everything from 3 fortresses, 4 Sagittars to 6 Sagittars, you know, 18 bikes and 3 big units. You know, there's a lot of different for a army that has very few data sheets. You've seen a pretty big variance in what people are bringing.
Yep. Yeah. And then you got Necrons, who pretty much, you might as well say across the board, they're a 50% win rate with all of the detachments that are getting taken.
They're all doing fine.
They're all doing fine. It's a solid book that if you pilot it well is going to do well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal on that. So, Brandon, don't die. But, I mean, you're seeing a lot of people playing all of them too with Necrons, and Necrons never have stopped being a 50% win rate army. You know what I mean? Since the buffs and everything, buffs and / nerfs. Yeah.
And Space Wolves, Wolf Jail still exists.
Yeah, I mean, right? it is. That's what most of the games.
It's there. It's good. Imperial Knights creeped back up, which is nice to see. Although I'm not a personal fan of them, it's one of those armies that it's nice to see that they're playable and they can win at a 50% win rate. It's a good thing. I have 0 issues with it.
All right, sisters minus Scott in the bottom. Eloise. Yeah. Our sisters minus Scott in the bottom of average win. No, they're still pretty high up there.
They're still pretty high up. Yeah. Tau holding it at 49%. You got to remember there was some different rulings this weekend that went into effect to limit a few units.
Should I pour one out should I do the violin or pour one out for the Tiger Shark?
I think it's pour one out. I think it's pour one out for the Tiger Shark.
I mean, it got its 1 weekend of fame.
So. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm a huge fan of changing the rules to just fix a Forge World model, but it's kind of what it felt like. And the pivot rule getting edited by Games Workshop unofficially, but through their tournament stuff, seems like the right call.
Tell everybody what they ruled. It's very different than what you're seeing right now.
Yep. So what they said was basically if you're a 32 mil flying base or a 32 mil base and you're hanging over, it's going to cost you 2 to pivot. So basically Raiders, Falcons, all the stuff that is, 32 or bigger base, you pay those 2 for movement. It made it so monoliths couldn't deep strike in and charge 8 inches. It made it so the Raiders couldn't deep strike in and charge 6, and I think it
would say 6. There's a 6-inch charge.
So it was one of those things. I think it's. I think they wanted to fix the rule to start with, and then they just didn't cover everything and think about the full accompaniment of it. They may have, and they may have gone, oh, it doesn't seem like a problem, and then it was like, oh, it is. I'm sorry.
You're like, yes, indeed, this is a problem. Yeah, that is funny. Eloise goes, it's funny what started out as a Crawley troll at Rocky Top ended up being an official rule. Yeah, Crawley literally wanted to play the Target Sharks just to piss me off. He's like, what will annoy Brad? I'm like, you can't make them come on and shoot. And he basically argued that where they could come out, and then GW put up their FAQ and said, except aircraft. So you could play them and make them come out and then immediately ruled otherwise at their first tournament.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. I mean, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. We'll continue on. So Tau still doing well. Crude Hunting Pack, which people said was dead in the water, is up to a 56% win rate. Right, for the week. I think that's going to happen.
I think it's going to stay up there. I think that the Tau are going to continue to win at around 50%.
Yeah, I think all the detachments for them fit a play style for a player. You may be a Kanyun player, you might be a Monka player, Retaliation Cadre, go on and so forth, but it's going to fit a thing.
Like I was going to say, like and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. Drop a comment. Appreciate it a bunch. I was definitely going to do that no matter if KR told me or not, for sure. And definitely.
Ill-Tempered Fireblade, I will be using Games Workshop's ruling from their events as I have in the past, along with the WTC FAQ backing up things if they're not there. That's how I've always ran my events. So, and that'll officially be in the player packet when I come back officially from vacation to work tomorrow, because Salt City is a work run event, so I'm trying to do as much stuff as I can and get paid for it.
Nice. I like your style.
Yeah. Tyranids very much have, since they got everything, have been on the upswing. Crusher Stampede, I don't think's hit its stride yet, but I think that's going to keep being around a 50% win rate army. I think they're in a nice sweet spot. I don't think there's anything that's overly powerful with them. I just think they're a good, solid army.
Agreed on that. I was actually surprised to see Grey Knights down here. That list has been doing very well. It skews pretty hard into a lot of things. You've been seeing the triple version still out there. Sorry, the triple, the triple Dread Knight, triple Grandmaster Dread Knight. You've seen the version with Canis also out there. This is hard to deal with if you don't have the proper tools. It is definitely dealable with. I'm still surprised that we haven't seen more just bodies yet. I haven't seen very many people testing the waters with just shit tons of strikes and stuff like that to go along with.
One of the Granite armies a couple of weeks ago that did very, very well was a lot of bodies and less of the Grandmaster Dread Knights.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a shit ton of 2-up saves, man.
It was, yeah. Astra Militarum is still just hanging out just below 50% win rate. I think it's one of the armies that back and forth is going to depend on matchups, missions, terrain layouts. They're not a bad army. I think you're going to see a lot less humans in them going forward. Not saying they're going to a tank build. I just think you're going to see a lot of Ogren and a lot of Bulgren. And there's going to be some interesting things with them with a lot of their stacking of APs. So.
You know what? I'm going to go to the wall on this because this is so hilarious. So Brandon's playing his Tau with the Sky Rays, and he played into Grey Knights. And when they do their whole jump, they become fly. And if you have fly, the Sky Rays reroll all hits if you have fly. So they came at him, and he overwatched one and killed it on Overwatch because he was in Kaya and he was getting exploding sixes. So he got 1 6, reroll, 2 6s, ends up being 6 hits, 5 or 6 wounds, dead Dread Knight. The guy's just like, what the hell? I agree on that. I think that we're gonna see a lot of different builds soon out of Grey Knights for sure.
Yeah, and then we got Chaos Knights who
they're just
they're there.
I mean, they're just doing the same thing as the Imperial Knights.
Yeah, they're pretty close. Chaos Space Marines they're going to be an ebb and flow. I think they're going to be ones every once in a while. The great players playing them are going to take them to the top. Then they're going to sink back down and up and down and up and down. It feels like there's the nerfs they hit them with may have been a little too heavy-handed, and maybe in a few months we'll see that change.
Yeah, possibly. There's some big points on that. I mean, we've seen all of them do okay. You know what I mean? And I still don't think we've seen the final form of Chaos because I think people are still really experimenting with it. So this is one of the lists that I think might be hardcore-ish once we get moved on. You know what I mean? Again, there's so many detachments. People just haven't had the time to really play with all of them, to really hone them out. Like I've seen a lot of this is my idea for this particular, pack bound, soul forge, whatever. But I think they were going to see more and more and more. So,
and AdMech creeped up from where they were. Absolutely have creeped up from where they were. I think this is one of the armies where it's just, there's not a lot of people playing them. They're, as we've said, an expensive army to build, a skill-based army to play. I think they're going to get there in time. I just don't think they're there yet. I think they need more.
Yeah, they've got more damage. They've got more mojo. I do think that they should have just left their points alone, to be honest with you. Like, they gave them those buffs, and then they gave them a little they upped the points of several things. I think I would have probably just said, hey, here's your buffs. Let's see how it rolls for, a little bit of time before I did anything else. Because you still have to get people playing these. There's just not a ton of AdMech players. And it's hard to shift to the good things. Again, like you said, it's a super expensive army.
Yeah, Matt, I agree with you. AdMech does seem to get a whole new rule set every 6 months.
Yeah, and the thing is that, exactly, it's like 50-point Ballistari would have been too good. Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do, but the thing is that what's good in that army changes a lot, and it's a super expensive army. So,
yeah. So again, orcs still super good, proven by them winning events. It's one of those things of their win rate's probably going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
It's just going to depend on what people are playing. If like two guys went, hey, I'm going to run Green Tide, and I just went crazy hard with 100 and X boys, and everything's this, and he just went to have fun, that's going to drag the win rate down a little bit. I think that's one of the things we'll see with that. I think they're perfectly fine in a good spot.
Orcs are orcs. I think orcs are fantastic. I think I got hit by a lot of nerf, but I think they're fine. It felt great playing them in ATC. They got 2 wins over the weekend. They've got multiple builds I still think that are out there, which we saw. Yeah, I mean, between giant kill rig builds, dread mob builds with Horde, the War Horde that I took to ATC, they've got play. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be fine. It's another faction that has to find its stride after they took away. They didn't really take away, but they nerfed down Bully Boys and Green Tide, so people have to figure out exactly what they want to play.
Yep, and I think from there, like, Dark Angels are in the realm of where we expected them to be. Custodes, they're still very playable. It's limited on how you can play them.
It's weird because they went down again, but man, they did well last week, and also they just smashed at ATC. Yeah, I mean, if they get their matches, that's an army that's just disgusting. Again, you're talking about a triple rapid ingress turn, or sorry, quad rapid ingress turn. If you bring 3 units of Venatari and then put something else out, that's just super hard to defend against. Go home or big home KR with 6-man Venataris.
I think Space Marines are consistently going to be at the level they're at until they roll back some of the nerfs that they hit them with.
They're just so expensive.
They're so expensive. They got, when they nerfed the Vanguard detachment, it just didn't just nerf that. It nerfed a lot of other things. It was one of those things of, I think those point changes will get rolled back eventually, and we'll see them creep back up, which will be nice. Gene Stealer Cult, they need the treatment that AdMech got. Their book is just...
They're thrash trash, man. I'm disappointed in this very much so, because I thought GSC is like the ultimate trickster army that gets to do all kinds of shenanigans, but even the GSC diehards are just like, this sucks. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. It's a rough. I tried playing it a few times, and I was just like, yeah, I can't find a build in here that I'm comfortable with playing. Like, they didn't feel right.
I agree.
Maybe down the line they'll get that fixed.
Oh,
hey, by the way, Scott, see you popping in there. Congratulations.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic.
We already pulled up your list. We gave you congratulations. If you're going to show up this late, you miss all your kudos. We broke down your list. We said exactly where you made mistakes. We spent a lot of time on just the mistakes, though. We're like, look, he could have played better. He could have just been better. So
anyway, congratulations, Scott. Thank you.
100%.
And then, as we get to Deathwatch, let's talk about the pseudo death of Deathwatch with the agents of the Imperium.
Well, I mean, it's pretty just dead.
Oh, it's dead. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have them in your agents of Imperium army, but it's not going to be an entire army of Deathwatch unless you're a glutton for punishment.
I mean,
I'm sure there's a lot of people who are Deathwatch specialists who are very happy that, you know, they were one of the the best Deathwatch players in the world because there was like 5 of them.
There was 5.
But at the same time, it's one of those things of I think it was a good evolution for the game because we could cut back a little bit on Marine armies. It's nice to have one less. I want to see what they do with the rest of the book to make it interesting. And we got very little preview of that outside of everybody's going to be able to soup in the Imperium, which will be interesting. I mean, they could kind of do it a little bit now, but it'll be a little more stuff, it looks like. So it'll be interesting to see where you go.
It's weird how they soup it too, because the fact that you get for what we play as Strike Force, the 2/2/1, basically 1 requisition and then 2 character, 2 retinas. So I'm going to see how that feels when you're putting stuff on the board. How many people are bringing multiple agents though? I'm thinking about what armies brought the most of those.
I mean, Custodes at one point was.
Yeah, they were bringing like 3 or 4, easy.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how much souping we're gonna see. Again, not seeing the book and having the book in hand, I can't make a full judgment on that. I would like to go with, hey, let's hope they made it so you can bring 5 and feel comfortable without it feeling overpowered or necessity to bring them. We'll see where it ends up.
Yeah, I'm just wondering on that. Sure, I'm wondering on that. You know what I mean? Because we have the, the detachment rules. I just don't know how often you're going to take this. But there was people bringing a lot more than you're allowed to. How about that? Knights, I guess knights, custodes, stuff like that. We're taking more of it than anybody else. Anybody that basically had elite shit and didn't have cheap stuff was bringing it, and I guess that will hurt significantly more for those armies. So we'll see how it goes on that.
I like the detachment rule. It looks interesting.
I'd like to see this on the board.
Yeah. I mean, adding 1 to your hit roll is never a bad thing.
Oh, yeah, I was just about to say, Also, the fact you're just like, hey, I've got a 5-up.
Yeah.
We'll see. To be honest with you, it'll be a lot of what are the costs on this stuff? Are they going to make it super cheap? Now that they're limiting the amount of things that other people can take, because that's kind of what I'm thinking in my head, is that they're limiting the amount of units that you can take from Agents of the Imperium, and then they can actually make them very economically costed. Because if you continue the way it is now, you would just spam out a ton of cheap units. You know what I mean? Especially if they became super effective with this new book. So that in my mind, that's what they're doing, because they wouldn't restrict it as much if they weren't going to make some of these units really nasty.
Hey, Brad, can you pull up the Cotias model?
I can. With a Cyber Eagle?
Yeah, Grey Knight Terminators with Guard meta Monday. That actually sounds like a lot of fun. It does sound interesting.
Yeah. So, stops kicking leg day.
Is it just me, or does he look like he's wearing a giant pair of Depends?
Look,
just
man,
look at the model.
He's bulking up.
Yeah, he's bulking up.
He's bulking up, yo.
Yeah, just in the midsection though.
Just in the ultimate bulk
I know
up.
fully about that. I bulked up in the midsection, but he spent a little bit too much time on one of the aggro worlds, enjoying fruits of his labor.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We should probably promote some stuff real quick here.
I mean, we should. The Salt City GT, the saltcitygt.com. Fairly close to selling out the 130 players for 40K. We're getting absolutely really close to that. Just for the people who know, I didn't get a chance to update the player pack with the due date for lists, but it's going to be the Wednesday before the tournament because it's good enough for me. And then one of the missions has a typo in it, and we'll fix that once I get to work tomorrow. But we also have new Age of Sigmar 4.0. The gentleman sent me the player pack this morning who runs that event, and it's his beta player pack. He's known for running Du Bois GT, and he works with a lot of the AOS people around the country, so it looks like it's going to be pretty good.
Nice.
And of course, then we have Kill Team and Marvel Crisis Protocol going as well.
I love where we're going with how people feel about this model. Don't hold back, everyone. Tell me how you guys feel about this. I feel that there's been some strong feelings here.
Brandon, I'd love to see you come be salty in New York. It would make me absolutely happy to have a beverage or two with you. Or 12 or 13. So, Brad, what do you got to promote? Brad, we can't hear you. There you go. You're back.
Am I back? I'm back.
You're back.
I made merch. And let me show it to you. I've got a couple different things. But I made objective markers. And I'm gonna put them up here. I'm gonna show you because they're pretty cool actually. They doing the stuff, doing the things. I got merch. Who knew? I'm even gonna name this picture. Objectives. Doing stuff and things. I didn't think about it till the last second, but I'm gonna show them anyways. Boom! I kind of put them sideways, but whatever. Those are cool as shit.
They might pop up here at some point. There we go.
Boom!
Nice.
Telling you, merch for days. Who knew?
Fantastic.
I'm making things happen.
So don't forget to check out the Lorecast, of course. It's absolutely fantastic. You can download it pretty much everywhere.
Where's the 40K Lorecats? 40K card. John's so against when I say that, by the way. He's like, hey, learn to speak correctly and we wouldn't have to worry about 40K Lorecats. He just wouldn't print one. We were talking about because we were deciding on which 6 images we were going to use. And he's like, I refuse to do a 40K Lorecats one. I was like, you know what? Someone will make one for me. This is going to happen. We need more Lorecats for sure.
Yeah.
When I got those, I got dice, and I'm working on basically the site for merch, or not merch, but clothing. So.
And don't forget, folks, that you can come to the Salt City GT on the 8th of August. Brad's going to be doing a coaching clinic on Thursday night, trying to help you out with your list, get you a little insight to a few things. It'll be absolutely fantastic.
All of a thing. I figured our Brad model for Cody is too tall. Screw you guys. I also don't skip leg day. So let's do this. Let's give some Queens waves and let's rock and roll, my man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Joe, as usual, thanks for the data because I use all of it every single time. So, all of the things, some of the stuff.